notice I'm keeping secrets in my head, or any space you can find. Glad to see that I could help make your life a bit easier. But have you ever thought of how I felt? You need to think about your behavior.
Yep, it's that time. It's Butch On Sports, the weekend edition, special edition, whatever you want to call it. Hey, I'm here. Butch is here, and as always, thanks for tuning in on a Saturday night, Friday morning, or Saturday night, Sunday morning. Got food you, didn't I, kill, boys and girls? Yes, I did. Let's give you some sports news you can't get enough of, and there's plenty to be had today here. I tell you what. Saturday, I've been hanging out at Comerica Park this weekend here for the Tigers and the Cleveland Indians. Of course, that's a close race as you see fit. The Tigers can get 3 games within the Cleveland Indians if they win tomorrow. We're talking about Sunday, that is. But that's another day, another time. Jeremy Candelario, or Rio, hit a 2-run homer. Jimmer, that's what I usually call him, and he accepts it because this last name, I get it rigged up. Okay, however, 12th inning, he gave the Tigers a big surprise, a 2-run homer. 4-2 is a victory over the Cleveland Indians on Saturday. Yes, he did. Miguel Cabrera started the inning off of Cody Allen with a 2-out single. And Jemmer, he took care of the rest. He drove a 2-0 pitch in the deep right field stands. And way back there, indeed, he busted it here for a game-ending homer. Tigers again are 4 games out of first place in their division, playing the Cleveland Indians. I will say, continue to say right now, they are playing some incredible baseball with this young unit here, getting together with a little mixture of some veterans and people who maybe really want to win. They look like egg on their face on Friday night when Green let that home run hit. But, paybacks, and the Detroit Tigers was able to do that, by the way, in the overtime, into the 12th inning. So it sustained a whole heck of a lot of good stuff there. Tigers will finish the series off this Sunday, 110. Don't forget it. Yours truly is going to kind of romp on down there and try to get a hold of Torrey Hunter. He's in town for the festivities here at Comerica Park, and maybe get some words and wisdom from him on what he thinks of the team and a whole lot of other good stuff. A little interview there, something that. Wet your whistle on there. Speaking of the Detroit Tigers Foundation, of course, the Illiches are involved in that. Nico Goodrum purchased 1,440 cases of bottled water that he's going to deliver to the Flint Community Help Center. Goodrum will join some volunteers from the United Way of Guinness County and the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan to distribute the bottled water to Flint residents. He has been wanting to lead his support or lend his support to the cause ever since the Tigers over the offseason was reading about the Flint water crisis. And, of course, the government here in the state of Michigan is refusing to pay for any more water for that particular city and community. I think that's a shame. I just personally say that we're better than that here in this state. Monday, June the 11th at United Bethel Methodist Church. That's on 1309 North Bellinger Highway. That's in Flint, Michigan, okay? I'm telling you now, it starts around about 10 o'clock. So you can probably line up at maybe 8 o'clock. And you would need some bottled water. I'm quite sure they'll have a lot more cases than what Nico Goodrum is giving out. I'm quite sure there's other factors that I just named off, like Eastern Michigan, etc. We'll be bringing shipments in there as well. You Major League Baseball fans, suspension. Somebody did a boo-boo here. San Diego relief pitcher Jose Torres, 100 games for domestic violence. This is not for drugs. They are PDEs or PEDs or whatever you want to call it here. But this is worse. Suspension is retroactive and covers the remainder of the season. Torres will not appeal the suspension or suspension, I should say. That's bad. My office has compiled an investigation into the allegations of Jose Torres violence, Major League Baseball joint domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy, and statement for Rob Manfred read. Having read all the available evidence, I have conducted Mr. Torres' violation of that policy and should be subject to disciplinary in the form of an unpaid suspension that will cover the balance of the season. Now, Torres allegedly pointed a gun at his girlfriend. And that's not good either. That's not good, period. So, get yourself together, Mr. Jose Torres. Last week's Grand Prix here had some goodies in store for it here. I was there in its entirety, and tell you, my knees are, they are paying for it. They're paying for it big time. I tell you right now that in the spirit of the Grand Prix, they did pretty doggone well. Final numbers have been tallied, and Grand Prix had a very good representation on the impact of the Grand Prix as far as the local, national, and international stage there. They approximately had 105,000 people in Belle Isle, of course, of the 3-day weekend. It's an increase of 100, or estimate 100,000 attendance from last year. So that's a little 5,000 more people. That includes the 27,000 on Comerica Free Day. So you want to break it down, Saturday was the biggest day of 48,000 people on the island. And 30,000 people, although it was overcast skies and some rain and in the forecast, all that other stuff, 30,000 people attended in there on Sunday. Excuse me. That is some good numbers. You know, for 6 of the last 7 years, they have surpassed 95,000 fans in attendance on the island for those 3 days of fun and frolic. And I will be, one thing like I said, I noticed there, and maybe it's just a conversation that maybe needs to be had, but I think disabled people got to have a better way of getting around that island. Certain things, or intervals where they can get through that island a lot easier. Because it might be the case at that particular time when you can get, things can be easy speasy for you. You can't help but these are the obstacles you got to make when things are going at its fullest. So I got to get a better understanding so I can tell our fans and friends about that, because that's something they have been bringing up to me feverishly there. If you're disabled or something that nature, it's very hard to get around that island. Especially when you got to walk over a bridge of stairs and come down them as well. I see some difficult times at the island, and that needs to be addressed here. Something of ease for people who have disabilities and do want to take part in the festivities of this particular big event in the metropolitan Detroit area. that has to be solved quickly here. And let me not take away from the people of volunteers that come through there and make your stay a lot worthwhile by their smiles and their grace on how they take care of things. And sometimes it's information that gets everything done, but you can tell the volunteers, their heart is in the right place. They're not rude, they're not nasty. They do the very best they can with what they have to work with. And maybe that's something that has to be talked about too when certain instances of disablement comes arise there and whatnot. They, again, in my judgment, they have done an incredible job of making me feel at comfort at times, and others I've seen as well, who they come across to in order to kind of make this stay well in dealing with the situation at hand. There, they've been very, very great about that there, and I just don't want to rag the whole thing, but part of it to maybe get some conversation going and hopefully something done about it for the ease of disabled people who are on that island. Now there will be some reports. Oh, by the way, OTAs all this week, all the weekend, and then forward here. Good stuff. Detroit Lions having they all getting familiar with the new coaching staff, and I'm quite sure we're. Sometimes they say, "Oh, we're just getting familiar." Whatnot. I'm quite sure these guys are going to be running them through the mill here. He's going to find out who wants to stay and who wants to go. He's got a lot of people in there. I mean, a lot of people. Okay, but they're going to have an off-season, not cookout, I would say, but they're going to have a joint practice during the season this year on Friday the 17th during their summer get-together called training camp. They're going to guest the New York Giants in there. Of course, the New York Giants will be playing them in a preseason game on the 17th, as I was saying. A couple of days before that, I do believe the 14th through the 16th, the Giants are going to be in town, and they're going to share the training facilities out there at Allen Park. That'll be a Lulu. And I'm quite sure they'll get together to have some drills against one another because this prevents they're beating up on each other here. So, why not have some practice where you can beat up on other people and stuff here. And make it a formidable activity here. I'll make sure I'll be there for that practice, I tell you. That's one of those dates that you want to kind of circle if the, and like I said, if the, at that particular time, the public is available to go see a practice. Which it might not be because I do believe the official date is the end of July when they start open the gates for practice. Because normally they have a week where the public can come on in, and up to a certain point, certain people are allowed on the grounds, and they seem to facilitate a good amount. From my viewers here, Lions, I should say here, they will probably have a date. And normally those days are like 7 days after that. The rest of the practices are not for the public anymore. Just for the media. And we only get to see so much too, by the way, there before. We do our job and ask some questions and maybe certain things we notice when you're out there opening practice to see something like that there. So we'll kind of keep that abreast of that. Now, let's get to the main event here for boys and girls here. We had 2 championships that ended this week. Hockey and basketball. Let's start off with the hockey first, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to the Washington Capitals. I will say in my judgment, this is some of the best playoff hockey I've seen in a very long time. Very competitive, very gritty, and not so much on the clown issue of being violent, but really doing the skating and the hitting and you can tell what team wants it the most, and the skill was in this particular playoff was unbelievable by many of the teams, and I'm talking about all the way down to the lower teams like the Kings and the Ducks. I've seen some stuff that woo. But all in all, this particular playoffs in hockey was very entertaining. Very entertaining. The semifinals, very entertaining all the way to the finals. Extremely entertaining. And if anyone saw the show that Las Vegas put on, the night that is when you're seeing a game at home, and this would maybe become something of some creativity at your home venue. Red Wings, I know they're looking at this one. They already have an act with the octopus and everything here, but only you get to see that during the playoffs, not so much during the year. Maybe the first game of the season, you get to get the theatrics of the octopus coming out of the sky and the whole 9 yards here, which they did, by the way, do the Red Wings' first regular season game. It was something to behold. The banners coming in, being laid down, and all that other good stuff here. It was a pretty unique situation seen on that particular day. But getting back to the Golden Knights, entertainment, humongous there in Las Vegas there. Some other teams adapt that kind of entertainment and theatrics and enthusiasm from all the fans who attended the games and attended those outside venues. It was the game is there. They've done an incredible job. You got to give it to the National Hockey League on that one. They showed up, and showed that hockey is a popular sport. And all who's not taking part in it better be getting in the program, because there are a lot of talented kids out here who may want to participate, and let's give them an opportunity to do so in some venues. And you don't have a venue near you, let's make one. Get them outdoors arena going like it used to be in the old days. You build up to a new building. Some of these areas don't have nothing where you can ice skate. That used to be a staple. I came up. Oh, well, without giving my age away here. And the NBA, let's not, kind of snatch on that here. The NBA, the NBA tournament, I would have to give them a B+. There were some exciting games, and there were some games that were pitiful. I didn't see very few pitiful ones. During the earlier rounds, I saw very competitive games. In the middle of the pack, I saw some pitiful ones. Especially the Toronto thing where they got their rear end kicked into a no-not one. I expected more out of them, but look, Cleveland. Well, or whatever team that kicked their rear end in. That was the surprise to me, the Toronto deal. In the West, I think Portland, I looked at them as a better team, and they didn't show out either. Oklahoma, we got what we thought we were going to get. Bunch of older players who love a paycheck and the bright lights on them, but not as a team. So we're going to see some changes. I'm quite sure off season, and maybe a lot of retirements here. And finding something else to do. Carmelo Anthony is a player who feels that he has something to offer a team in a winning situation. In the last 3 years, he has not looked like the Carmelo Anthony that we once knew. I'd say the last 5 years, personally. Maybe because bad teams or whatever it may be, or physically just not there. But I hate to say it, but we may see some retirements pretty soon. I tell you. Okay, we kind of winding down here. Uh, Although there was Negro Week today, and today they went through a lot of players who used to participate in this their festivities down there at Comerica Park, not with us anymore here. And then we got to still see some players who participated in it who are still with us there, the Ron Tinsleys and their force. That's quite a accomplishment, and some of the stories they tell is simply that you know be honored to hear about. I put it that way. But there was one member of the Detroit Tigers, and the Tigers this year also they're going to commend that team. 50 years ago in 1968, they won the everything. They just took it on, took the city by storm. During a time when the city had some things going on that was unbelievably unreal. Byrne took the fiber out of a whole heck of a lot of stuff that this city was so uniquely adored. But this was the team that brought the city somewhat in a frame of mind of togetherness and happiness, second to none. Bill Freehan is one of these players right now that hopefully we get to see him during those festivities in August when they meet and greet and bring all these players back. But he's suffering Alzheimer's right now, and things are not getting really better for him. So from what I am being given from some reliable sources here. So, let's pray for Bill and for that matter, all the players and their families who may not have things, all right at the present time, maybe health-wise or other financial terms or endearments there, but let's pray that they can get there and that we can enjoy and cheer something that brought us all together. At that point in time, at a very serious crisis in the particular city of Detroit, indeed, it was something that I think people know going to beat St. Louis like they did here and to come back and scratch and claw of the Tigers was something to behold. And I'll never forget that, as a kid. Okay, it's my first experience of championship and watching people tip over cars and burn them up. And I could never understand that why people want to destroy things when they're happy. By the way, this is love doing these shows during the weekend because you get so much stuff to talk about. Justifying the Triple Crown on Saturday. Hey. Winning the Belmont Stakes and the Kentucky Derby and Preakness victories, he become the 13th horse in history to sweep all three races. And man, oh man, oh man, that's something to look at as well here. That doesn't happen too often, but when you get a dominating horse and a trainer, Mr. Bob Baffle, we talked about, that is the actual trainer and who works with the particular owner of that, but his training techniques for the horses that he has won, and he's won quite a few. That's unprecedented, I tell you, boy. His name will go in history of the best trainers of all of thoroughbred racing, and therefore here, that is something else. Justify when the Kentucky Derby Triple Crown, the 13th horse to do it. And with that, I say we can do-si-do on out of here. I think we can. I'm just saying here. I'm glad to do this here on a Saturday night. Butch On Sports. Let's get you the line up here. You can check Butch On Sports on Facebook here, boys and girls. Yes, you can. You can do this. Go to the Facebook section and type in Butch On Sports and you get the podcast there. You can also get the podcast at Podomatic. Type in SIMPLYBUTCHTOO.podomatic.com. Yeah. Do it that way, and you'll go right to the site. You can also get it from the faithful, the Game Sports Show, .popbean.com. And it's a smorgasbord of shows that you can see, or hear, I should say here. Let's got them on film. The game, of course, is on there, as well as Dave McKay's shows from the Sports Center Lounge and also Boston Pizza. EJ might get some who for, what it may be. And, of course, Scott Mason there. Check out that website as well. iTunes also, boys and girls, you can get the particular there. And have a good weekend. Butch On Sports is a presentation of Oh My Darling Productions.